Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Atlanta Family Church prayer vigil day 93. I'm sorry, it looks like it lagged a little bit, but yes, this is day 93. I'm glad to have you all. We're about to start with a prayer. A bow to my parents and true parents. So please join me in that bow. Chanjin, Champamone, Kimbe. Hello. Let us do the family pledge. What? Our family, the honor of Chanoguk, pledges to seek original homeland and build the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation by centering on true love. 2. Our family, the honor of Chanoguk, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the heavenly parent and true parents, who pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. 3. Our family, the honor Chanoguk, pledges to perfect the 4 great realms of heart, the 3 great kingships, and the realm of the royal family by centering on true love. 4. Our family, the honor of Chanoguk, pledges to build the universal family encompassing heaven and earth, which is the heavenly parent's ideal of creation, and perfect the world of freedom, peace, unity, and happiness by centering on true love. 5. Our family, the owner of Chanoguk, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love. 6. Our family, the owner of Chanoguk, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the heavenly parent and true parents, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessing to our community by centering on true love. 7. Our family, the honor of Chanoguk, pledges through living for the sake of others to perfect the world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. And number 8. Our family, the honor of Chanoguk, pledges having entered the era of Chanoguk to achieve the ideal of God and human beings, united in love through absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience, and to perfect the realm of liberation and complete freedom in the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven by centering on true love. All right, thank you. And I would like to ask Mrs. Bowman if you'd be able to offer a prayer for this morning.
Heavenly Parent and true parent, I thank you for a new day to start, Heavenly Parent. Every day is new and a new advance and a new development of our heart. Truly, I pray for this morning for the true mother's health and safety and long life, and the unification of North and South Korea, Heavenly Parent. You have been working so hard to bring unified in Korea for thousands and thousands of years. Now the tried so resurrected Christian ministers and the people in Korea who change the view of true parents, Heavenly Parent, through Chonshun and answer providence, Heavenly Parent. Everybody went the mental and the spiritual healing, and then it came beyond the religious barrier, Heavenly Parent. Finally, you gave to show your love to all mankind through this answer providence, Heavenly Parent. Korean people are very serious about the prayer to building and unification in North Korea, Southern Korea. Bring the children and children on prayer and really pray hard and unified in this country. Father is going to departure. He was cried because there are even one nation under God's claim, and God can deal with Heavenly Parent. Please guide our heart and the prayer in this morning, and just seriously, and come together with the heart. I pray, Central Blessed Family, Jackson Kyoko Bowman's name, I offer a Jew.
Andrew, thank you for your prayer. All right, and so we're going to jump into our breakout rooms to talk a little bit more about our gratitudes for this morning and starting off on the right foot. And so I'll see you all in about 7 minutes. All right, everybody on YouTube, same thing. I'll see you all in about 7 minutes. Make sure you do your gratitudes. Take extra time, especially since you have YouTube. If you want to talk about the gratitudes a little bit more, if not, it's all perfectly fine. But make sure that you just check out for your gratitude. So we'll see you in about 7 minutes. All right, welcome back to the main room in Atlanta Family Church, day 93 for everybody. All right, so we're gonna have a couple people share their gratitudes for this morning. Sorry, my computer seems to lag a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me today. But yes, first person I'd like to ask to share is Matsunaga-san, if you'd like to share today about your gratitude.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. We last week we at the Atlanta church and then help the kitchen. I'm great working with brothers and sisters, and we came back Tuesday late night. So yesterday morning we tried to go out witness as usual, but we little tired, and then usually 10 o'clock, but usually around 8 o'clock, but yesterday was 10 o'clock, so late, getting hot, yeah. But we anyway tried to go out, and then but usually time at 2 hours late, so not so many people. Of course, it's hot, So we walking around, and then we just gave up, started driving to go back home. But I look at the playground. I saw a young couple, so we park again and then go out to talk. They are tourists from Brazil, so they stay. Wife was a relative in this town, so also he has a Japanese family name. So we talk nicely. His grandparents, I think, immigrate. So his name, he has still a Japanese family name, and he has a big tattoo, to the Japanese character, So, and I felt, we have a lot of concept, it's too late, too hot, and the middle of week, people not here. But I think now God is ready and the spiritual world is ready. We don't give up and keep going. And then, I think this is a rebirth. Everything has to change inside our thought, start anew. I feel so. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like, the Spirit of God was like, no, you're not leaving today. You're gonna be witnessing today still. So I think that's still a beautiful moment. And you saw that opportunity and you took it. So that's a very beautiful moment. Thank you so much for witnessing yesterday and really taking that opportunity. I think God is very happy that you reached out. All right, thank you, Asako-san, for your sharing this morning. And also I wanted to ask Mr. Randy Burnt if you'd like to share today as well your gratitude.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. It's got to be back and see you guys again on my actual computer, not in my car. Yesterday, I was doing from my car, or the day before, and the police came behind me and they saw the light shining, flashing, and so forth, because I was parked in my neighborhood by a park. So they're really worried for me, but it was no problem. Once the policeman looked at my license, he realized I probably have less of a record than him. He said, "Have a great day, sir." So that was good. Anyway, I appreciate that I can attend this seminar coming up next Monday and Tuesday, the 3-day rebirth workshop. Normally, I need to give a lot of notice to my jobs to get time off, but miraculously, even only with 10 days notice, I could get those 2 days off from my job. So I really appreciate that. Yesterday, I spent time listening to some of Damien Dunkley's kind of recommended recordings he made about this new time we're in. And it's very insightful, very inspiring. And one thing I kind of picked up is that, the idea of the Trinity, the idea of, the spiritual true father, spiritual true mother, rebirth comes to that. So I was feeling that as we resonate with true mother in a whole new way that we don't really understand it until we get this information, this experience, until we resonate, people can't really have rebirth. So as we resonate and take that third position and form a trinity with true mother, then it gives new life to people. So those we talk to, those we witness to, they feel something different than just simply us knowing about true mother intellectually. If we actually experience her spirit and her essence, then it creates that third position of a spiritual child having new life, or the person we're witnessing to having new life. So there's something I kind of picked up on and felt yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your sharing. Thank you for deep sharing today. And I think it was actually, it took me a second. It was like, oh, you're not in your car. Oh, you're still Mr. Randy. Oh, because for me, I was like, I know you by you being in your car. So I was like, oh, it's a different environment this time. So it's nice to see a different environment. Also, thank you so much for your sharing this morning. And honestly, your insight this morning. So thank you. And thank you, Asaka-san, for your gratitude as well. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the reading this today, and I think we're on page 119. So if you want to join me, in your own books as well. 119 on the top. 1958, our first missionary crossed. All right. Start. In 1958, our first missionary crossed the sea to Japan. And the next year, a few trusted members pioneered missions in the United States. Given the impoverished state of our Korean church, it was almost unthinkable to start foreign missions in Japan and the United States. But our purpose went beyond being solely a Korean group. To bolster these budding foreign missions, Father Moon undertook a 10-month world tour in 1965. The course included a period where he drove with a few followers to every state in the continental US to consecrate prayer sites that we'll call holy grounds in each. He met our missionaries and their young members in the US, Europe, and other countries, and met prominent public figures, including former US President Dwight Eisenhower. On this momentum, the flow of the Unification Church missionaries into Europe, the Middle East, and South America began to rise. Supporting the organization and coordination of all these missions made conditions arduous, both in the mission field and in Korea, and sometimes Korean members would shake their head and say, things were getting worse. But in the 1970s, the divine principle of the Unification Church spread through the world. Many tens of thousands of young people heard the lectures and left their old lives to dedicate themselves to God's providence. It wasn't long before the countries of the world, as though with one accord, gathered their energy to oppose us, but our movement was like a roly-poly toy. Persecution hit us and we bounced back. Hit us again and we bounced back again, even stronger. 1975, we held mission conferences in Japan and in America, from which we selected young missionaries and dispatched them to some 95 new nations, in addition to the more than 30 already with active missions. There are many reasons to delay or slow down our evangelical outreach. We could feel God's urgency and press forward. I recall my husband's words shared late one evening. There will always be reasons that we cannot send them, but if we do not send them now, we will never send them. There will never be a moment without difficulties. Let us make firm decisions when things seem the most difficult. May 2017. The 1975 cohort of faithful men and women represented not one nation, but three: Japan, the United States, and Germany, or Austria. Countries that were enemies during the Second World War. We sent them in groups of 3, one Japanese, one American, and one German or Austrian. Their unity with each other was the foundation for outreach and service that bore great fruit over the decades. Unlike many Christian missionaries sent out from the United States and Europe, our international missionaries did not receive any financial support from the sending church. They left with enough money to survive for a few days, a suitcase of clothes, and a divine principle. Instead of living in nice buildings or homes, they stayed in tiny rooms or huts. They had to improvise mission plans and work together despite having different cultural backgrounds and speaking different languages. Faced with so many unknowns, those who were leaving and those who were sending both had to maintain a brave face, knowing each missionary was stepped into an unpredictable future. Our missionaries committed to a 5-year tenure, but more than a few who went to Africa and the Middle East remained for 20 years and more. Once or twice a year, if they could, they would attend a mission conference at our East Garden facility in New York. One young missionary arriving at one such conference burst into tears upon seeing my husband and me. It was her first time meeting us. Hearts that wanted to weep in joy and sadness. How could there be anything but that? The person who wanted to weep the most was me, but I knew if I did so, the happy occasions would turn into an ocean of tears. Therefore, with the heart of a strong mother, I embraced that young woman instead. The next day, I took all the missionaries out and bought them blouses and scarves, or dresses and shirts and neckties. This looks good on you, I would say to each of them. You worked very hard. But together with my sincere consolation, I would ask them to be strong and press harder. If you sacrifice a little bit more on the way of the peaceful world will come about in our time. Near the close of their conferences, the missionaries would blush their new resolve in front of God's will and depart again to the front line of his dispensation. My heart of loving and admiration for our leaders and tribal messiahs who have left their homeland for the sake of humanity remains unchanged to this day. Whenever we sent missionaries to unfamiliar lands, my husband and I held on to heaven and prayed earnestly for each one of them. In the 1970s and 1980s, the unification movement faced intense opposition the world over. An unknown party even sent a bomb threat to our church's Belvedere Training Center in Tarrytown, New York. But the opposition was particularly intense in communist bloc countries due to our public speeches, rallies, and educational programs to defeat Marxism, Leninism. We especially prayed for our missionaries who went into communist countries, as we knew there was a possibility of martyrdom. To our sorrow, that concerns becomes the reality. In these Iron Curtain countries, surveillance, deportation, shadowing, and terror were our missionaries' everyday experience. 1973 in Czechoslovakia, the police arrested most of the core members. Almost 30 young people received prison sentences up to nearly 5 years. And others were released but endured ongoing repression. 1976 in France, unidentified assailants bombed our Villa Ablet church in Paris, injuring 2 members. Our French members marched from the Eiffel Tower to the Trocadero, calling for religious liberty and winning the sympathy of many. Finally, when it was revealed that communists were involved in the bombing, prominent leaders, including U.S. congressional members, publicly condemned the attack on religion. Even worse tragedies occurred. In the flower of her youth, at the age of 24, Marie Sivna, one of the most faithful members in the Czechoslovakia, died in a cold Bratislava jail cell. In December 1980 in Tanzania, Japanese missionary Masaki Sasamoto was shot and killed, also giving his life as a martyr. Numerous missionaries in the United States and other countries lost their lives while on fundraising drives or in the course of outreach activities. Despite such tragedies, the missionaries continued their work in the 1980s. European missionaries working strategically behind the Iron Curtain called their project Mission Butterfly. The Butterfly missionaries cautiously witnessed, despite the constant danger of being tracked by the secret police and arrested, forced to leave the country or worse. In 1987, my husband and I quietly gathered the Butterfly missionaries at our East Garden residence. We listened to their moving stories late into the night. There was no stopping the flow of tears. The missionaries shared from deep within their hearts stories that they had been unable to tell even their parents or brothers and sisters. Hearing their stories, we felt deeply concerned about their harsh circumstances. Because these missionaries were viewed as enemies of the state, staying in their mission country was filled with risk. But this only intensified their prayers and faith in God. As one missionary said to us, "I don't know when or where I will run into some kind of danger. I only know that my life is being directly supervised through God's revelation. If there's a dangerous situation, God appears in my dreams and guides me along the path I should go." As they departed to their posts, putting our short meeting behind, I hug them one by one and sent them off, waving until they are out of sight, thinking that these young, pure-hearted missionaries were acting out of their deepest passions for God and true parents, bound for lands more brutal than battlefields, without as much as a promise as to when we would meet again. My heart ached and my eyes blurred with tears. Our missionaries were persecuted for nothing other than faith in the true parents, was truly a sorrowful reality of history. And determination to advance was truly a glory of history. Chosen members went to every corner of the globe. Despite suffering and danger, they leapt into many kinds of work, service projects, establishing schools, providing vocational training, cultivating the wilderness, building factories, houses, and communities, raising the necessary funds by their own wits and heaven's assistance. Each time I saw missionaries off to cross unfamiliar seas and continents, limitations of what I could give them pained me. I encouraged them by saying that when our dreams are realized, God will give us all the greatest of blessings. Seeing how those words strengthened their resolve, I realized that spiritual encouragement was stronger support than any physical provisions. The early stages of our movement, members were the most pitiful of people, chased and concerned, thrown out of their houses on snowy nights, praying in tears against the outer walls of their own home, deported from unfamiliar lands, jailed, shot, and even killed while fundraising. They had to find their way in the desert with nothing but starlight in the night sky to guide them. These faithful souls pushed their way through dark forests alone to share God's word. Holding our sorrows deep inside, we kept our faith and disseminated our beliefs. Today, the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification serves in more than 190 nations. In this activism for peace and true family life grew from the seeds of the missionary's sacrificial love. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and stop there. I think the beginning part is we started at 119, if I'm correct. Yeah, we started at 119. And it was just talking a little bit about the whole chapter was talking about missionaries and their mission overseas and how difficult their lives were really. And even one occasion where, some of the members have never met true parents. And I think we were in a very gracious territory to be here in America to have the opportunity to see true parents more often than most people. I think we really got a benefit here in America. But there was a lot of turmoil, but in the case of really creating something in the world, we had to push on and really create something that I realized when really thinking about it, and really when you're trying to make a difference, it's supremely hard not to risk something. And sadly, some people had to risk their lives and were martyrs on the path to creating something that was bigger than them and in the sake of kingdom of heaven here on earth. And really building something that we have now. I think every single one of us can really be grateful for. And I think some of the members here have really went through a lot in this time as well. So thank you. And really gone through a lot to have this kind of foundation that we have now. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the rooms to talk a little bit more about this chapter. If you have the book, go ahead and you can even go back on some of the pages if you wanted to share something specific about a section. Feel free to do that. But we're going to go ahead and end there and see you in about 7 minutes. 1 second, just create the rooms. All right, see you all in 7 minutes. All those on YouTube, you can go ahead and go back on the recording, see any of the passage that you would like to see again. Otherwise, we'll see you in 7 minutes.
단순한 사랑으로 안으시네 그 크신 품으로 감싸시네 절망 속에도 흔들리지 않고
기도하리라 어머님 안아주시는 이곳에서 나의 부족했던 지난 나를 이제 눈물로써 회개하오니 나의 부족함을 용서하시고 참 사랑으로 감싸주시네 나 이제 기도하리라 아버님 기다린 전심원에서 나 이제 기도하리라 아버님 반겨주시는 이곳에서 나 이제 기도하리라 어머님 눈물 흘리시는 이곳
All right, welcome back. I hope you had a good time in your breakout rooms, and I would like to ask two people to share today. All right, can we have Mama Coco share today? I don't know if you're able to share today. Okay.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. In our breakout was before Zamasan and myself. Just I was sharing that when the missionary went around the world, the 3 first years, it was very struggle for them because Father sent the one Japanese, one Germany, and American, and those was enemy country. And these 3 missionaries have to go to challenge themselves to restore first this history of enemy. And then in the first 3 years, they cannot bring results. And then when they come back, the first meeting explained to Father. Father say, I know, that's why I send you. And then missionary life was so difficult. And then I remember in 1995, when the champion work started, Father invited all the missionaries to come to Korea in champion. It was not many of them left because some died physically, some missionary died spiritually, they left the church, and then it was just few missionary was there in champion for that time. And then all those years, it was some missionary also died, but like Brother Sasamoto, who was assassinated in Tanzania, and that time was I was in Bangi to helping the missionary who was there, Mary, Hannah, and Terry. There was also a group. It was so challenging, but when he died, really, it was like a worldwide funeral because it was very painful, even for Father in that moment, the way Brother Sasamonto died in Tanzania. Yeah, even in Bangi, our missionary who was struggling a lot too, even though was helping, but it was big struggle. The life is so difficult, but just they keep going. And then some place it was like some missionary was not receiving help, with financial help. And then we have to they have to find a way to survive. And at that time, I remember I was selling just the peanuts. We make the peanut, we put in one small bag, and then we go to sell it. And it was so low price also. I think the missionary also suffer a lot everywhere they went. Even those who went in the communist country, they cannot talk freely about God. It was not easy. That's why when they was coming further, I have to give them love, take them, buy some clothes for them. Just was treating them like a parent is just giving love to the children. You will ask them, this is nice. I want to buy this for you. Because sometimes it's a way really to give love to those missionaries who went around the world, suffer in the different way. And this just was my sharing this morning in my breakout. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your insight. And also, yeah, so thank you all for all those members that have really passed for the Providence. And obviously, we want to really thank them for really bringing us here, and that none of it's lost. We're going to keep fighting until we can make the kingdom of heaven. So thank you so much, Mama Coco, for your sharing this morning. And yes, and you said Tanzania? Sorry, the missionary was in Tanzania, right?
Yeah, Tanzania.
Tanzania. So we'll reach out to them, and not reach out like physically. So thank you. All right, we're gonna have one more sharing today. I would also like to ask Mrs. Schmidt as well, if you'd like to share this morning. And after that, we're gonna go into do the song.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Mama Coco, for that sharing. You were in the country receiving the missionaries, and at that time I was in New York and we were sending the missionaries. And I remember those days when they gathered in New York, and they had workshop and preparing to go out, and so many young faces, many of them, most of them younger than myself, but I felt that their hearts were older than myself, because they were willing to go. Their dedication was so deep, and their faithfulness to true parents was so great. And I just looked at their faces and thought, how brave they were, so courageous. And especially the women going out, and a single woman going out to a foreign country, even though we knew that they would join, other members there. Such a difficult thing to do and dedicate for. And yet I know a number of them that were among those that stayed for 20, 30 years and are still there. So amazing people. And I really appreciate them so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Schmidt, for your sharing as well. And yeah, it's good to hear from both sides, from sending and receiving as well. So thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Thank you, Mama Coco, for your sharing this for today. And today's a little bit of a heavier day, but we just wanted to really thank all those missionaries. Once again, maybe keep that in your prayer, and to pray for their families, and pray for the countries that they went to as well. So, all right, we're gonna do one song before we go ahead and pray. So let us do one song. shine. Star in the light of glowing in. Righteousness, chosen by him to visit. Upright in mind and heart, as we know to the love of God our bound Lord. Come, let's join together in mind. Guide to all. Now, keep longing for the honoring God eternally. Sacrificing for the Lord, as we now receive the love of God our God. Come, let's work together. Shine like bright. Love that is. And refusing the sin our dwelling in. Separated from sinfulness. Knowing God's wondrous love, as we now receive the love of God our bound Lord. Come, let's join together in well, shine like the bright. Those who crush evil ways. Perfectly. Even for the sins of man, as we now receive the love of God our bound Lord. Come, let's share together. Will shine like the light. Million doors and those who carry the cross are the earth. I welcome into the Son of Man. I will beautiful garden of God, as we now receive the love of God our bound Son. Come, let's pray together. Now shine like the light. We're going to go ahead and end with our 7-minute prayer. So please unmute and let us pray. Parents, thank you so much for this day, this time, this moment. We're here.
も天国様、届きまくりのおかげさまで、
So grateful
そしてまた、あなたの国の兄弟姉妹と共に、
Pray the
激
things
動
that
の
you
場を持ち、一日を出発できます。
have
心から、
Precious Heavenly Parent,
as
thank you for this day to begin
that
in praying
あるい
together
は
with
give
よ
us
し、
the Lanta
ものにも
family,
ものにも、あらずあな
Lily
た
and
の
Diane someplace, and brothers and
そう、
sisters.
くださり、そしてまた、雨
we
を
have
Beginning,
降らせ
Heavenly
てくだ
Parent,
さり、天の
this
恵みや
workshop
私
coming in a
た
few
ちに
days,
与えられております。
being
what
asked to
このように
fast.
本当
to
に
appear in
天
May
の
we
お
our
父
have a
様の
condition
恵
acknowledging like
み
that.
を
of your
We pray that all brothers and sisters would be able to have really good
現れて
preparation
not any other
感じることが
to
でき
receive
る
Mr.
私
David
たちの
Dunkley, to
心を
receive
に備えなければ
takes
ならないこ
place.
とを知っているもの
you
で
said
ござい
Most
ます。
important thing
only
took
ダ
place,
ンクの会
Chanshin
長、
One,
アメリカが
special workshop.
ワークショッ
It's the
プを通し
spirit of true
本
mother.
当に
Need to catch the
神が
spirit
い
of
か
true
にこ
mother.
のアメリカを
Need
祝
to
福
resonate
し、
with her.
thank you
Because
for
Heavenly
アメ
Parent,
リカ
she
と
is
し
the
て
center right now. She is the center.
今また
Not somebody else. It's
みん
not
な
something
地
else.
球
We
を
need
救
to
う
resonate with true mother.
報道のお母
They're
様で、
standing up
ダン
claiming
会長
boldly
を
and
アメリカ
strongly
に送
from the world. I am the only
まさ
begotten
に、
daughter. I am the only begotten
こ
daughter.
の
Follow me, unite with
モーニ
me.
ングディボー
Everything will be
ション
fine.
この兄弟姉妹が
Unite
アメ
together
リカ
in
の
a way
アメリカ
no
ま
one
た
expected next.
本当にこの
Dear parent, we must unite our world,
毎日この
unite our
本当に
all brothers and sisters coming into the fold of the
ケ
true
ア
mother.
し合いながら
Heavenly parent,
ながら
it was
新
the
しい
course that Dr. Young
このア
said
メリ
is
カが
a transition course.
祝福した
At
祝
some
福して
point,
世
everything must be
界に
settled
た
down.
火で出すこ
So
と
I'm
が
really
できる
praying
よ
that
う
we
に
can
この
settle down,
新しいスタート
settle
を
down
しても
everything
新しい
towards whether it goes to the eternal
やりなが
spirit
ら
world.
そしてまたお母様
We're
の
talking about
さる
those
グレー
brothers
ス
and
を通し
sisters
ても
who shed,
本
they
当
sacrificed, they shed
見
their
流してくださ
lives,
い新し
they
い
shed their
ことを
physical
許してください
bodies,
ました
they
あ
went to the
本当
spirit
の
world.
あ
They
本当
were
に
persecuted
振り
by
返ることの
communists
ない
really
た
difficult
だ
time,
神から希望を持って
doing their
お母様
witnessing.
が奉献し
We
てく
could
ださっ
talk
た
about witness
日
to
本を
nations
仰ぎな
in
がら
those
そ
times
して
in
あ
American
の
history
アメリカに
and
帰
in
り
the history of the
日
world.
本のこの
It was
本
really,
当にこの恵
really
みを通して
stronger than it is
あ
now.
変わりかることを
So,
できるの
brothers
に
and sisters,
ま
they
た私たち
sacrificed their
の
life.
命を私たちに
I pray that they
くださ
might
いました
down
私一
receive
人一人が
direction
神のことをし
during
て
this
神
time
の子供が
of true
こ
mother's
の時に出る
declaration of herself as only begotten daughter.
成長するまで
That's really
あな
an
たの
amazing thing to
本
think
当
about.
に
If those
愛
brothers and
してく
sisters
だ
have
さい
sacrificed their
本当に
life,
世界に
no more
一番
physical
を守って
body
くださった
to do
この
anything with,
心を
they cannot
私た
grow
ち
unless they come down
涙
and
が
resonate.
この地に
Let
使わ
them
れる
come
感
down
じ
and
が
resonate with
こ
true
の
mother,
勝利の
only
を
begotten
迎えて
daughter,
ください
then
ま
experience
と
great
この
spiritual
クリス
revival
の
for
ために
themselves
日々戦争を
from
捧
the
げられ
spirit.
るまことの
Get here,
イエ
parent,
ス
is
様
a
の
great and
この
powerful
ことを
time in our
私
midst.
たちが
Great and powerful time.
私たちを
And I'm looking forward to the
時を
separation
無駄に
of
すること
evil
なく
in our nation,
こ
to
うして
separate
私たち
evil in our nation, Heavenly
私
Parent.
として
We must separate
導い
good
て
and
ください
evil
ま
in
す
our
よう
nation.
お願い申し
Know
ます
that back thousands of years ago,
その時誠
the
の
same
王
battle
様
is
に
going
different
on.
お
things
母
at
様
different
まさ
times
に
The
in
battle, it's always been
Norway.
about the battle of good and
歩
evil.
みを担う
Ever since the
兄
fall
弟
of
姉
Adam
妹
and
でありま
Eve,
す
it's been about the battle of good and
私
evil.
として
We
Heavenly
want you
Parent,
いや
to
ピリ
know
ヤ
that at the
をさ
time of
everything
Elijah
そ
on
う
the
いう人
Mount
が
Carmel,
さまざまな困難の
Elijah
条件
was
の
battling with
God
the
中で
false
will not
idols.
ま
let you
た
down.
And it was like a
特にこのイ
competition,
エス様のための
the
された
false
この十
idols
字架
versus
十字架の
God
伝道
and
そ
God,
してこ
Abraham,
の十
Isaac,
字
and
架の
Jacob.
中
What you
で
have given
そ
us
し
We
て
know, Heavenly
教会
Parent,
での
we know that
現れ
through
fire of heaven came down
こ
creation.
and
のための
consumed the
方が
false idols,
私たちに
consumed
こ
them,
の
Ask
導い
you
and
て
we
くださっ
stood
totally
た
strong in the
と思い
battle
ます。どうか
as the
私た
one
ちを
God
こ
for all
の
mankind in all things.
隠す
pray
You
方法
came
を
for those to
continue
worshiping the
to
idols.
stand
In fact, you're thinking more
the
about
way
them
that you
than your
have.
own. Your
Let us
own.
know,
The Bible says
even
that
those that
the
you,
good shepherd
even Lord,
leaves the sheep who are
we have
okay
not been
gather
given to know.
and goes in search of the lost
Pray,
sheep.
Heavenly Father, let
Those
us
who are
do
worshiping idols
according of
today,
God's
Spirit
mercy.
wokeism, transgenderism,
Wanting to do
all
things
these
that I don't
things,
know what
the
they
arrogance
is
of fallen
aligned.
man, to dare think that he
Doing
can
what our
change what
role
God
is
has made
and
into something
giving
that
us
he
this
wants
and we want
in
to
order to upon
We
itself.
pray that we
Heavenly
bring that
Parent, I
joy
pray
to
that
you.
as the fires of
We
Elijah
realize
came
the
down
responsibility
on Mount Carmel so many years
and
ago,
responsibilities, and we know it's not all the same.
the truth can be seen that in this age, the power of the true peace and true parents can laser beam down from heaven,
Ego
90
is where
degrees,
you want
all
us to
shadows
be.
will be
And we
cast,
realize that the
shadows will
way
be
that we're
exposed,
pulling ourselves
consumed,
back, don't go
and
there.
the fire of the righteousness
We
true
couldn't
parents now
tolerate
at
that.
this
We've been in
time.
the service, we've
True
been in
Father in the Word of
certain
Spirit,
sections of the
now that
brothers
you're on
and
earth, we're resonating
others were not
together,
allowed us to
together.
taste in the
May those
affliction
fires
of the
come down and
innocent.
consume all the false idols
So we all
that
have
our young
things
people
to give
astray,
and
leading them into not even caring about
yes.
God or who they are not, living their own lives.
And
Heavenly
we only
Parent,
see the small
only,
picture of
only will there be
ourselves.
happiness and joy in this world of
I
division.
try to look at
You're
the broad
showing to
picture
us,
of responsibility.
we're seeing flat in
And
front of
that's
our
all I want to
face,
do. I just want to do all
impossible
to expect
division
none.
in our nation, in the
And
world,
live life or death.
politically speaking, particularly, an impossible way to reconcile these
We're,
things.
we're
See how
defeat.
evil is, Heavenly Parent. The name of goodness
And some of them,
happening,
where they,
our
they
own
never
children
committed a sin.
mutilated and destroyed,
They're
unable to have
alive.
their own children in the future. You know what's behind it, Heavenly Parent,
So now we're here.
behind all this kind of stuff.
And we have
All
a
these
chance to make a
concepts that
change.
fallen
We
man
have a role to
have
play, and we want to fulfill the
as he
things
is
that
separate from God,
ordained us to do.
not trusting in God, not
So
believing in
do it.
God, thinking
You
just
say,
take
help me over
charge
here because
in our
I
own
got
way,
things that I need to
God,
do. And
do what we need to do.
the
Maybe this world
sacrifices we need to
still, Heavenly
sacrifice
Father,
for.
by doing that, the problem becomes
So
worse.
please guide us so that
Only
we will be able to send up
Only true parents, only you
sacrifices
can bring about the solution to our world
of
today.
obedience to you.
Only the love of God and true
And if you
parents,
lead
the
us,
love of brothers
give
and
us
sisters,
strength to be
united with
faithful
their Christian brothers and sisters,
to
can
be
save this
obedient,
world today,
and
can save this
supporting
world. It's
elements
becoming more and more
to
obvious
bring freedom
that we
to
must be a
everyone.
light upon the hill for all the world to see.
So the honor of
He
being
is
in
the
this
light of the true mother at this
armed
time.
situation to call is too much.
I pray in the name of Randy, may
Us
Holy
to
Father
even
bless such a
imagine,
family as you
and it's overwhelming.
and
We understand
Amen,
what we're
Heavenly
doing,
Parent, as you and
and we know that we
Heavenly
won't be
Parent,
there.
as you and Amen.
We're there to
Let's hear all
we're
the
to
prayers
die.
of brothers and sisters at this time.
And matter of fact, even if we
All
die,
the prayers as they shout out
we
what
certainly
needs to
have a way to
happen
keep going.
to bring
Thank
about
you,
the
Lord.
salvation of mankind, namely the unity with true parents, unity with true mother at this
Our
time.
brothers and sisters
I
everywhere,
pray for the Korean providence
every job they
to
stand
bring
up,
about that north-south unification. Based upon that to come
places that are
east-west unification.
so serious
Begin
about
to
this.
see the unification of the world, starting upon
Not
heavenly
all
God-centered
coming together
values,
as oneness.
heavenly God-centered values
We all
will move the
have
world into oneness, will move the world into the kingdom of Chang Il-guk for all mankind,
all have
for all
reason to be
mankind,
with
for all mankind. Praying in the name of Randy and Vivian,
all in the name of Christ.
praying in the name of Randy Brent, and my name, Heavenly Father, and
사랑으로
Jew, Jew, Jew. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. I'm just going to wait a second for prayers to end. Okay. All right. So thank you, everybody, for day 93. We're just very grateful for just having this prayer vigil with everybody here. I want to keep continuing, and please advocate for prayer vigils. If you know somebody that isn't joining, then invite them to our prayer vigil and invite them to starting the day off with God, right? And if they're doing another prayer vigil, that's perfectly fine. They're already starting with God in the first place. But if they are not, it's perfect to join us as well. So, yes, for announcements, we have a lot of announcements coming up, but for the ones that are coming up more recently, we're going to have the ladies with ladies tea. The women's ministry is leading a ladies tea, especially since they're actually collaborating with the church that's after our church that rents the church. It's a great time to collaborate with more people and actually have this union. So ladies teas on September 2nd. Please watch out for that. And then as well as I believe there's a concert coming up within the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's not going to be next weekend, or they're planning for next. Anyway, we'll work it out. But there's going to be a concert, and as well as a cleaning ministry is also having their event as actually happening on the 9th, which they're hoping to do a little bit of it's also part of like the service as well. So if you feel like, not Sunday service, but service as in service ministry. So if you feel like you want to do some service or invite your kids to join us in the cleaning aspect of cleaning they wanted to clean the church. I don't know if they wanted to do some mowing or something like that. They said that they didn't fully know exact details because we have to figure out some of the background details as well. But they wanted to do some cleaning project at the church, maybe mowing, maybe other things that would really make the place look nicer. So that's the cleaning ministry / service ministry. And yeah, I think those are 3 events coming up, as well as, of course, tomorrow we have the International Prayer Vigil as well at 9 to 12. If you want to join at the Chunshim one, otherwise we will send a link, I believe. So thank you, everybody. I believe that's all the announcements for today. So we'll see you all tomorrow. God bless. Oh. God bless everybody. Have a good one. See you all tomorrow.
Good day.
Have a good day, everybody. Thank you. God bless.